Okay. Questions, thoughts about the work last week? Basic outline of a photo of sessions. Okay, really? All right. Well, we're going to get into it. So let me share my screen and we will get into this. Okay. I know this one's called pre-ceremony as far as the assignment, but this is still, all this stuff is pre-ceremony. Like, you need to know what you're getting into. The biggest thing that I can tell you about weddings and events is the planning. So using a wedding, standard American wedding, as the template, it comes down, a lot of the success, 99% of the success, comes down to the conversations that you have with the clients beforehand. So in my thing, there's generally one person that plans everything. The other one goes along with it. They're just kind of like, yep, okay, we're good. Yeah, okay, good. The more that you plan with them ahead of time, and I mean, even before they hire you, I walk through the entire day with them ahead of time. One, to show them that we're planning together. And yes, it's also a psychological thing. If they're planning with you, then they're already seeing you in that role as a photographer versus, yeah, you're $500 cheaper or more expensive, or this guy's cheaper, or that guy does this. They're planning with you already. So that's a big deal. So starting off, what to plan? Those are the big questions. And yes, I am serious when I say I plan this stuff with a couple before they've even hired me. I'm writing this stuff down because it's important. Right, the wedding day. I start with, when does your ceremony begin? Oh, ceremony, we're going to, the ceremony is at 4:00. Okay, we work back. Then when do you have the space and where are you getting dressed? We're getting dressed here, there, the other place, at the church, at another home, wherever. Then generally, I like to start about an hour and a half before the ceremony in general. And I tell them that because then I'm going to get all the details. So the dress, the shoes, the paper, the rings, the flowers, go visit the guys, get their photos, come back to you, get your photos. Then we start talking about, do they want a first look or not? That type of idea. And this is all before the ceremony even starts. And then I kid you not, they look at me like, oh my goodness, there's a lot to think about here. I think you guys got like a crash course of all the things that you have to think about. So when it comes to weddings, there's a lot. There is a lot to think about. All right, then after the ceremony, and then ask about how long does the minister think the ceremony will be? Because you can do a full Catholic ceremony that's like an hour, hour and a half. There's shorter ceremonies. The shortest one I've been to, Fox Run Park in the gazebo, and literally was like, okay, we're gathered here. Do you, we're done by. I mean, I had to be on it. It was quick. But I knew about it because I planned with them ahead of time. So yes, that was easy. Then after the ceremony, I plan about 30 minutes for the family photos and 30 minutes just with a couple. Then I got to find out either when cocktail hour is or dinner is served. But I don't always have them back for cocktail hour, but I will promise to have them back for dinner to make sure that that they are there before dinner is served. And then more fun things from there. Okay. All right. Questions so far? I'm going to come off of share. I want to hear from you guys. I have no desire just to talk for an hour. Thoughts?
If they say the ceremony's at a certain time, but they don't start till maybe an hour or so later?
That's somebody else's fault. No fault of yours. Try to talk to the vendors that are next, like the dinner and all that good stuff. And then fit in as much as you can, as quickly as you can. I would not neglect getting some of your photos that you need, like couples photos after the ceremony, and then the family portraits and all that. I would not neglect that just because somebody else was late. You might have to be super fast. And if you, yeah, gosh, I really wish Matthew was here because he does weddings, but it's like you have to be quick. You have to set up quickly. You have to be on your toes. You don't have any time to just fart around and, oh, let me spend some time over here and where do I photograph? You have to be on it, especially if somebody else is late. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
So would you recommend like meeting with them before the wedding even happens? Like plan like a, hey, let's go get coffee and go through everything really quick?
Yes, I do a meeting about roughly a month before the wedding. And that serves for two things, because generally you're going to meet with them the first time about a year out. So a lot of things can change in a year. So the notes that I've taken might have changed, and that's just fine. So I tell them, let's meet again a month before. And this is also where, if we haven't finished paying for this, paying the invoice, this is where we can do that. Now, granted, when I did weddings, invoices weren't paid online as much as I got checks. So checks were the thing. And that doesn't seem like that long ago, but it was. Or it seems like it was a long time ago, but it really wasn't that long ago. It was, yeah. Anyway, so I would get final payment and go over the timeline and just, okay, tell me anything that's changed. Are there any more special people that I need to be aware of? Are there any more special things that I need to know about? And just go over the day with them. Have fun with that. Yes. Yes, go ahead, Sarah. Nope. Okay. I'm looking for mute buttons to come on and off.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So would you have the bride and groom meet together before the ceremony, or would you have them separate and do it after the ceremony?
I like to do a first look, to be honest. I really do like it. We talked about that last week, how it just kind of resets the couple from the whole day's events and that whole so-and-so isn't being nice to me and so-and-so is doing this and, all the crap they have to deal with. It just helps them reset right before the ceremony. I am not a superstitious person. Even with traditional things, when I know where they come from, it's like, well, that's kind of stupid. Like the first look was, yeah. So I like to have a first look with the bride and groom beforehand and then let them go their separate ways. And then, yeah. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any
How
other
much-
questions so far?
How much time do you set aside for the first look?
Not much. You really need to look at when the ceremony begins and know that that first look can go right up to, because you've got everything else done. You've got the details photographed, so the dress, the flowers, the shoes, all those things. You've gotten the photographs with the groom, his family, and his groomsmen. You've got the bride, her family. When I say family, I mean immediate family, like parents, possibly siblings. It's really about the parents in the beginning. And then so I've got all of that done, all the pre-stuff done, then first look. And generally it's 10 minutes maybe before the ceremony, maybe 15, depending on which part you're looking at. The only thing that everybody else should be in the ceremony site, ready to go, or right there by the door, ready to walk down. That's it. You're just pretty much ready to rock. Oh, I don't know if any of you ladies have ever put on a wedding dress. Make sure that you give that bride a minute to go to the bathroom, because it's going to take a while to get through all that, and she's not going to get a chance to do that again for a while. So that's another thing to look out for. Other questions?
He already actually asked one of the questions I was wondering was, is it a good idea to do the first look before the actual ceremony? So that way, because things go wrong all the time. So I figure if you do the first look photos before the ceremony, then you don't have to worry about family members or anybody getting in the way of the photo. So I was wondering if that's a good idea to do it before the ceremony actually starts.
That's actually the only time you can do it. After that, it's not a first look anymore.
Okay.
And by the way, I've heard the argument that it takes away from going down the aisle and people seeing that. Guys, I don't know how much. I've got 2 guys in this room. I'm looking. Yeah, 2 guys. Do you want everybody staring at you while you're having a very emotional moment? Do you want people staring at you? I know, Brian, I see your face. So the first look allows you to have those emotions privately. And then when she's coming down the aisle, when they're coming down the aisle, it's totally a different type of thing. I've never had a couple say that diminishes having a first look, that it's still a joyful moment with their family and their friends. It's different, just totally different things. Any other questions, thoughts so far? All right, how do you guys feel about a timeline? If you were to set it out, the first 2 questions I ask are, when is the ceremony and when is dinner? And then run around that. Cool?
I think it's good because that way it keeps you on track and it also keeps the wedding moving so it doesn't get stagnated in one particular.
Absolutely.
And it's also more organized too as well.
Say
that
one
way
more
you know
time.
what, and now it also is more organized too, travel timeline, so that way you know what's happening, and then because it's a ceremony, then they walk down the aisle, then then they have dinner and then do the dance, and then that's where you can take pictures or moments,
Absolutely. It definitely keeps everything organized. That, and then the couple doesn't worry about you too much because you've given the impression from the very beginning that you're the one that's organized. So they don't follow you around. Where's that photographer? They don't do that. Okay. All right. We go back to the share here. Okay. The questions. I've gone over this. So the ceremony time, and say, I like to get there about an hour and a half before the ceremony starts. I actually might get there 2 hours ahead of time, and a half hour before I'm officially on the clock so I can scope out the space if I don't know it. Where is a good space for the couple photos? Where's spots that I can take the detail photos? Where's the good light? Where's the bad light? That type of stuff. Then when does dinner or the reception start? Never, ever hold up the timeline. If someone else makes you late, just move faster. Remember to smile. You can get away with a lot of stuff with a good smile. All right, so pre-ceremony, we have all the details. This is fun. So you hang the dress. By the way, it will come with a big cardboard thing right here in the bodice. Take that out. Just go ahead and take it out. It's all right. You can mess with that. She's going to put that dress on shortly. If they don't have a pretty hanger, it's okay to go get a pretty hanger. And maybe that's something you have in your kit if you're going to do weddings, is go buy a very nice wooden hanger so that you can hang that dress. The paper, the rings, the cufflinks, things like this are pretty. Shoes, flowers, the rings, all these details. Lots and lots of details. Then give it back to them, of course, so they can get dressed and do all their things. The bride getting ready, wait till the end, because nobody needs pictures of women putting deodorant on and weird crap like that. They want to look pretty. See, even here, they haven't put their dresses on yet, but their full hair and makeup are done. They're ready to rock. All they got to do is put on their dress. Remember her mom. Mom really wants to be seen and be part of her daughter's day. A lot of women are the ones that will get things done. Sometimes you're going to have to pull mom away and let her be mom and let someone else do all the things. Again, smile, kindness. Yes, you can do it. Dress, putting the dress on, wait till the dress is on and we're putting, we're zipping it up or buttoning or whatever it is, lacing, whatever it is. Get the pretty parts. Make sure these are pretty photos. Okay. This is a newer trend. last 5 to 10 years is the dad's first look. This is great. And again, he's going to want these photos with his daughter. I mean, good grief. Those are very, very important ones for him and for that family. Bride with her parents, that's beforehand. And then bridal portraits. This is all about her and her dress and her flowers and how beautiful she is. She doesn't have her wedding ring on yet, so don't make that a thing until after the wedding. Yes, but do remember her flowers and for have her to hold them down. You'll have to tell that to the bride and to the bridesmaids because they tend to hold their flowers up like it's a microphone. They'll hold it right by their chest, and then it becomes very strange. Versus like here, she's holding these flowers down by her belly button. Look how nice that proportion is. That's a beautiful space. I would even say that she could hold these down a little further, but they're not bad where they are. All right, then before the bride is finished, women still take more time to get dressed and get all their stuff done. Before the bride puts the dress on, I go over and get the groom's photos. Their details are a little different, but they're still there. And notice she doesn't even have to be putting that on, just touching it, looking like she's putting it on. It brings all these things together. Cufflinks, getting ready. Groom with his groom with his parents. This is what she's seeing. She's seeing her little boy. So that's an important mama right there. Groom portraits, yes. Whoever he is he Dapper Dan over here trying to look all suave and GQ? Is he just happy to be there no matter what? Is he more of a manly man, guy's guy? You know, give him those guy poses, whatever. Whatever works for them, give it to him. And then that first look, bride and groom. Like I said last week, I get this photograph of them seeing each other and their responses, and then I'm out. I really want to give them their privacy. From there, we get ready for the ceremony. I go find a spot in the aisle towards the front. So in other words, I'm like, this guy is actually the one who took this photograph is in the aisle. He's a right close. I mean, he's like right there, but I usually don't have this much space in an aisle. Don't be in the way. Don't be in front. Be off to the side. You can start, if you wanted a long lens, you could do that. But I kind of personally like this wide so that we can see everybody and the church and them. And as they get closer to you, it naturally zooms in, which is quite nice. Okay, first I'm going to stop there because that was a lot of information. Thoughts, questions?
Going back to the groom and the bride, would it be better if we have like a partner? It's like because you
Oh,
have
yeah.
one partner
Absolutely.
to the and then one partner to the bride.
Yes. Now you can do both because while the bride is further down the aisle, way in the back, I can turn from my front view and see the groom very, very well and get his photograph and then turn back to the bride.
Okay.
Too many people up front can be a little distracting, a little crazy. Often you will need flash there, so that can add to it. But my second generally will be in the back. And I'm usually the one up front. They're in back and they're setting up the tripod camera. So as soon as I clear the bride, they're taking over and they're getting all the money shots down the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
What other thoughts you have? Yes, Esther, go ahead.
Do you discuss with them beforehand, like where
Yes.
you're gonna be sitting?
Yes. That's part of all that planning, and I do it from the very beginning.
You also
thanks.
discuss where you're going to put your flashes. Because, like, you know, me and Brian, we did the wedding, earlier this year, and it was high ceilings that were really dark, but we didn't use flash. So would you discuss with them that, hey, there's going to be flash here or located here?
Yes. And I tell them I'm using it mostly for the aisle, or sorry, bride coming down the aisle, because I want, and it's on camera. And I'm pointing it up because I don't want to blast the bejubers out of her. Because when she's close, then all I've got, I don't care what color she is, she's going to be white woman. I mean, that flash is going to get so strong. So I point it up towards the ceiling. And I just want to light everything in front of me. So that, yes, it's not a direct light by any means. But it definitely, you're going to need to add some light into there, even if it's just as much as a catch light in the eyes. That'll keep you from having a beautiful bride with raccoon eyes. Yeah, especially with these really small ones. Small chapels, small churches, those can be really dark. And yeah, or the lights are directly overhead versus coming in from the side and flooding the whole room. So on camera flash for coming down the aisle. Now, during the ceremony, not really, because you can use it. You'll have a tripod camera. And of course, you know, the tripod, you can go slower motion and be able to make that work. They're not moving a whole lot. You're really okay with that. They don't move around. So slow shutter speed is okay with a tripod. Any other questions here?
So if the ceremony is being held outside and it's like there's strong sun, what would you recommend to use for that?
Pray for cloud cover. I'm serious. There's nothing you can do. If it's bad lighting, it's bad lighting. Use wider angles and try not to get as close. If the light is bad, and I don't know if you can still see me. If I know in bright light, my light blue eyes are, I'm going to be and squinting, and I'm going to look like this a lot. So you may want to mention that to the bride and just be like, hey, anytime you see me, just remember to smile and smooth your face for a second and then just smile.
Okay.
Sometimes that can be rough, and other times it's absolutely positively beautiful. Yeah, pray for cloud cover.
For indoor flash, like how high do you usually set that on?
Okay, test it beforehand. So I like to
Okay.
work with the second, whether that's someone who's worked with me for a long time or just someone I picked up hot body with a camera. You know, I'm like, this is all I need. I will put them in the aisle and photograph them, just like the bride, so I can tweak my lighting. Don't find out as soon as they go. I mean, that's part of being a professional, is making sure that you've got your light and your settings right. Nice fast shutter speed, not horrible fast. I mean, you don't want 500th of a second because your flash isn't going to work. But you can definitely do 1/25th, 200th of a second just fine indoors. Cool. All right. Any other questions? Thanks, Esther. I see that. Oh, that's cute. It's animated. All right, let's go back to the share because I got more good information. You guys handling all of this? It's a lot of stuff.
I did have one more. I just
go ahead.
when you went back to the shared for the first look photos, because I know like since these are more new and they're very popular, would you say like you do a quick 5 and then let them be, or
Yep.
like
Again, I'm working with my second. One person gets his response, the other person gets the bride's response.
okay.
And just try not to cross streams, of course, you know, you don't want to see each other's photographers.
Yeah.
And then, yes, they're going to see each other. They're going to have a moment. You're going to feel it. You're going to feel intrusive. And as soon as you feel intrusive, walk away. At least that's how I do. But then again, I'm kind of a feeler type of person. You have this moment. So yeah, they don't see me. They don't see me. He's smiling because he knows she's there. They see each other. And then they have this moment. Right after that, I walk away. I'm done. My job is done there. Now it's their private moment for about 5 minutes. Answer your question, Brian? Okay. All right, so getting ready for the ceremony, I find a spot in the aisle, check my light and my photo settings. If I don't have a second, I will find a person to go stand in the aisle for me. So preferably somebody in light clothing, because light color clothing. Someone with the same skin tone as the bride, that type of thing. So in other words, I wouldn't pick my dark African queen if I have a Scandinavian bride. Okay, I'd pick someone like that so I can check my lighting. But of course, always remember to smile and thank them. They're going to feel weird standing out there, but you get your photos, you check your things. Oh, good, this looks great. Thank you so much. And they're generally just as happy as can be. And then I set up a tripod camera. Now I put that towards the back because it's going to have the long lens on it, tripod. Again, check the settings. You should not have to futz with that once the ceremony started. If you were doing this by yourself, you're in the front, you're getting the photos. As soon as the bride passes you, I actually will then get in the aisle and get down so I can get the father and the daughter or whatever else is happening right there. All the way up to that the couple actually goes up and starts going through some of the stuff with the pastor. As soon as the pastor says everybody can sit down, I haul butt to the back and put the tripod camera in. Yes, I put it right in the center of the aisle so that I get front and center, no obstructions. Okay. All right. So I recommend that you have 2 cameras. Now, work towards it. If this is something that you decide to do is wedding photography, work towards having 2 camera bodies because you'll have your wide to medium lens on one, and then you'll have your long lens on another. Our straps are amazing. The rapid straps, because you can wear them sling style and you have 2 cameras hanging and you don't have to hold on to them. They're beautiful. At least 3 batteries for each camera. I change the batteries 3 times. So, well, twice. Start with fresh batteries in the beginning, change your batteries before the ceremony, change the batteries before the reception. They're not dead. I don't want them to die. I want to make sure that I don't have to think about it. And the same with cards. I'll change cards during those same times. So just doing it at the same time. Change the battery, change the card. Both cameras. One I didn't put on here because you don't need it, but it would be a good thing is if you had a macro lens. So that macro lens is going to be better here. Notice how small these look with a nice wide lens. You get a macro lens, you can get even closer with the rings and the details, and it's really absolutely gorgeous. And there's not a substitute for a macro lens.
If you want me to ask real quick, what do you consider a macro lens?
100 millimeter. It's the one I have is actually a 90 millimeter, but it is specifically a macro lens.
Okay.
Yep. I'm okay. Lenses. Hey, there we go. Apparently I thought about this when I wrote this up. Medium lens for groups and average shots, 24 to 70-ish. If you're a prime lens person, great. Maybe that's a 35. Portrait lens, a longer thing, because you definitely want those backgrounds to go out, have beautiful portraits, sharp and crisp on the clients. Macro lens for your details. All right, so tripod. You definitely are going to need a tripod because during that ceremony, you don't want to flash. You want to be able to get those photos without using flash. So a tripod and a longer shutter speed is great. Speed lights on camera and then off camera. I usually have 2. I'll have one on my camera, usually pointing up. Yep. Speed light on a light stand for portraits using off-camera flash with the trigger system. You may not need it if you already have one on camera. Depends on how you like to work, whether it's completely on camera or off, whichever it is. You know your style by now, right? Everybody's used a speed light? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Mia, I know you have Luz.
I don't use it often, but I do know how to use it.
Okay, good. But you know how to.
Yes.
Gotcha. Avery, Caitlin, Catherine. Okay, good. All right, so tripod, speed lights, you need your own. All right, here's me being me. Look professional. I say wear dress blacks. Now that doesn't mean unmovable, can't move in these clothes dress blacks, but black will really help hide sweat and dirt and all the other things that are going to be happening that day. If you are brave, wear a white shirt. You might not wear it again, but yeah, fabric that you can squat in and get on the ground and you're not afraid to move around. Now, I would not recommend jeans. However, black jeans, we understand that black jeans can kind of blend. But denim, like blue denim jeans, those are not professional for a wedding. No. Now, and I do say good all day shoes. Ladies, listen carefully. You do not have to wear girl shoes for this. If you wear heels, you're going to die. And then you're going to run around barefoot. Neither is a good look. Personally, I have black tennies, some good Hokas that I wear because I need them to last me 8 to 12 hours. And I need my body not to fall apart. And I'm 51. So I'm like, we are not going to be doing this. I'm not going to be wearing girl shoes to weddings. But I'm going to wear long enough pants that no one's really going to notice. And if they notice, they're not going to care. Okay, there we go. I'm sorry I have to say this, but I'm going to say it. Don't be on your phone. You can be capturing things like if you're the main photographer and you have a second, ask your second to get a couple of shots of you working, things as they're happening, whatnot. Don't answer texts. Don't take phone calls. Don't do any of that. Don't be on Instagram because you're bored. If you're bored, take a couple of shots for social media, for behind the scenes. But don't be on your phone. Don't stand around looking bored. Find things to photograph. You're not going to have long, so take a couple minutes, get some details, get some shots, have fun, do whatever you want to do. I do not advocate drinking while you're working. Even if you're officially off the clock, you and the couple know it. Nobody else in the room knows that. They just know you as the photographer. And now you've put your camera down and you've started drinking. I personally do not advocate that. Basically, guests don't know that difference. And they want to see you as a professional. And that's it. That's what I say. I'm going to turn off the share for a second. I want to look you guys in the face. Don't say anything unkind about anyone ever. Ever. It will be seen and heard. I guarantee you, it will be. If some crazy Aunt Lola is coming in and she is a hot mess express, find something awesome to be like, wow, that is an awesome woman. Look at that outfit. It is wonderful. Not look at that outfit, but wow. I'm so glad she's here. Here comes the color. Here comes the fun, you know. If you say anything about anybody, it's just one of those Murphy's laws. Somebody will hear it and it will be the wrong person. Just don't.
Keep your opinion to yourself.
Say one more time, please.
Keep your opinion to yourself and don't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Keep it all to yourself. All right. This is a whole lot so far. Actually, one more. I'm going to tell my do's on this. Those are my don'ts. Don't be on the phone. Don't be unkind. Do play well in the sandbox with other pros. There's videographers, there's other people, even if that's somebody's Uncle Bob with the camera, talk to him. Hey, you know what? Let's keep the aisle clear so that we can get our photos. We'll both stay on the edges, okay? Sound good? Or if you absolutely have to, you can stand behind me. But some folks are going to be right up into space. Don't be one of those folks. Okay? Introduce yourself to people. Hi, I'm Chris. I'm the photographer. No, it's not obvious from the two really expensive, huge cameras and lights hanging off my body. No, Hi, I'm Chris. I'm going to stick out my hand and say hello to everybody, introduce myself by name. Find out who everybody is quickly. As soon as you arrive at the space, find the bride or whoever it was that hired you and find them first and then work their way around the family. Oh, where's your mom? Can you introduce me? Great. Go to the groom. Okay, hi, how you doing? Who's your best man? Where's your mom? Is she here? Your dad? Brother? Whoever. Introduce yourself. Speak confidently. Especially as a teacher, I see that a lot of introverts pick up the camera because they capture from behind it, but they want to be invisible behind. At a wedding, you cannot be. You need to be able to speak confidently. Look at someone, look them in the eye, shake their hand, be heard, speak confidently. If not, you're going to get run over, and that's frustrating. Yep, smile and look people in the eye, be on time and stay on time. Be aware of the time and stay on time. I think I said this last week, is learn how to tie a necktie, how to pin a boutonniere, how to fold a pocket square, and how to bustle a dress. More nowadays, when ladies have a bustle, they do bring their mom and their maid of honor with them, and or a sister, if not maid of honor. So some people there know how to bustle a dress, but you should know how to do it. Especially if they think they know how to and they can't figure it out, you know what to look for. Okay. That is my big thing for today.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
How do you deal, I know this doesn't happen at all weddings, with either family or if like there's kids at the wedding? How do you deal with like staying on a timeline when some people are like, can you take a picture of me? Can you take a picture of Mike?
Okay. There's a couple of thoughts there. Staying on the timeline, they're not going to stop you too much, especially if you're with a purpose and you're going about your business. If you're standing around, that's when people will start doing, hey, can you do this? Can you do that? But if you're busy, generally they won't bother you. When they do, smile, absolutely. Click, click, click. Thank you so much. That's one of the biggest ones. And you want people coming up to you and asking you for that, because you're going to hear by the time I'm done talking about the reception. That's my big thing that I do before I leave, is I go to the mothers of the brides, or so the mothers, both mothers, groom, bridegroom, whoever, both mothers. Who do you want pictures with that you haven't had yet? And get all of anybody and everybody. Go to the dads, which will usually say, did you talk to my wife? Yes. Okay, good. Then I go to the groom, then I go to the bride. And if all these major people are taken care of and all of their photos, desires are done, they are very happy when you leave. So even the kids, especially the kids, because everyone wants to see kids in pictures. They're so cute. But as far as if you're on your way somewhere and some kid is just like, hey, take my picture. Great. Just squat down, take their picture and run off. Thank you so much. You're so cute. Bye. I gotta run. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Does that help, Esther?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Other questions, thoughts?
One
What was
thing
it? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
One thing that helped me and Brian when we did ours is when we got there early, like you said, get there about an hour and a half early. We looked at the location and we found a spot just for those type of photos for like families and everything.
Yep.
So that way you don't have people pulling you aside. You're all centrally located in one area.
Yes.
So that you can get your parents' pictures, the bride and groom, all that fun stuff.
Yep.
So I think that's kind of helpful if the space allows it to set aside, like talk to the bride and groom, like, okay, this is the area we're going to do all the portraits in. So that way you don't have to worry about someone pulling you away and you got the drunk uncle or drunk aunt pulling you away. Yeah, you just kind of funnel everyone into the central area and that way you can get all those knocked out.
And you did that before the wedding?
We actually did
Or
it after the ceremony. Like we set everything up
Okay.
before, but after the ceremony, after they walked down the aisle, did their vows, and walked back, everyone they got like maybe 10 minutes to kind of just conversate and meet and greet, shake hands, whatever. And then the mother actually started funneling everybody into the central area to have all their
Okay.
pictures taken.
but that conversation was had before the wedding.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So right as the bride and groom got there, we told them like, hey, we think this is a good spot to have this set up in so that way we can get all the pictures that you guys want, whether it's family or friends. And they were all cool with it. So that kind of helped out a lot, like discussing it with them.
It does help. And
Because
I can see problems to having the family photos before the ceremony. There's going to inevitably be 3 people that aren't going to be there. They're going to be taking their time. They're going to be doing something else, and you just can't get everybody together.
well, yeah, I've been to, like, the last wedding I went to was like maybe a year ago, and it was a kid wedding. Well, kids at the wedding.
Oh, okay.
And
I was like, thank you for that clarification.
well, I was like, wait, that sounds bad. um During like their first like dance and stuff, all the little cousins got together. Like the bride had 2 daughters, and then she had a lot, like, only sisters. She had like 4 sisters, 4 or 5, and 3 of the sisters had kids, and so they were around the same age and they got together, and the photographer was like trying to capture the moment, and they were like pulling on her, and they were like, can you take my picture, like, while she's like, and I was just like, like, and I know they're kids, so I was like, Oakley, I was like, come here, like, trying to help them, but I was just like, oh my gosh, like, as a photographer, like, I would already be nervous, and that would just be like so annoying to me. Like,
I've seen a couple like that. Honestly, if it's something like that, okay, they're dancing and you need to get those photos. And these cousins now are, take pictures of me. Honey, I'm working on this right now. Let me get it in just a minute. Like, focused on them right this moment. Let me come back.
okay, yeah. Okay.
And I'm not a parent, but if whatever you would do with your kids besides turn around and spank them, whatever nice phrases you have, I would love to hear them. Anybody who is a parent, it's like, just a moment, hang on, let me get this, something.
See, I'm not a parent, but I've been an aunt since I was 2 years old. And I would be like, where's your mom?
Yeah, I
I'd
got
be
you.
like, this is not the time.
What do you think, Catherine?
I think I would just grab my kids and, tell them to wait their turn.
Okay, that's a good one. Just wait
Well,
one sec.
after I attended that, I was like, I'm not having kids at my wedding. Because they'd be like, they were trying to do their cake, and then they got up and they were like, I want a piece. And I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, those are some I don't say they're not well tended to children. And at weddings
like,
where there's lots of cousins, people
yeah.
just tend to let them run loose.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, like, you get, like, some of the kids, their parents were like clearly like parenting, but like their mom and their dad was getting married, and like they're not as strict. Like, I love my friend Haley, but they're just not as strict with their kids, and I feel like that's why they were, some of the special moments I was just like, oh my gosh, good thing there's no audio. Like, it's a
Right.
photo.
Right.
But
It seems like they kind of expected that of their wedding, to have all those children there. They were expecting the kids to cause a ruckus with everything. So you kind of have to just go along with that if that's the kind of wedding they're having, is what I would think.
Yeah.
yeah, well, then it goes into play, don't say anything mean about anybody or
Yeah.
Say anything like, oh my gosh, I wish these kids weren't all up in my space. Inevitably,
like-
every one of their mom is going to be right there.
literally.
Okay, so what was something that was really surprising, or wow, that was a really cool thing to know? Matt, hey.
Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Yep, I'm glad you're here. 45
Yep.
minutes late, but I'm glad you're here.
I'm here, yeah.
Yeah, I'm rubbing it in. It's on purpose.
Thank you.
I was telling people I wished you were here earlier so you could throw your 2 cents in.
Yeah, well, let me do that now. Let me get into this.
Well, I'm done with the lesson. Now I'm asking questions. So
Okay.
you missed it.
Sorry. Okay.
What were some ahas? What were some thoughts you guys had about this? I'd like to hear from everybody. Don't make me pick you.
I mean, from doing the lecture and now that we're actually doing the class, based like from what you've told me and taught, I can look back at the photos that we did, that me and Brian did before, and see where I went wrong or where he went wrong or where we both went wrong, what we did right, and kind of tweak it just in case there's another incident where I get asked to do a wedding. So
Yeah.
now I kind of have a little more knowledge of what to bring, how to kind of react to things. Because at that wedding, like as you were asking about kids, this wedding, luckily there was only like maybe 4 kids. So, and they were all kind of like grouped together and real shy. So they really didn't do much. But now I have a little more knowledge on how to approach a wedding as far as
Good.
shooting.
Good. It's a lot more involved than you think in the beginning.
Yeah, because I wasn't there for the full planning because Brian, he really did most of the planning. So I was there for more of this is the day of, here's the rundown of how everything's going to go. And I'm just like, oh crap. Like I got all my gear, but I don't know where to set it. I don't know what to do with it. Should I put it here? And we just like it was more of a communication that we probably should have done together instead of just him, the bride and groom and everything.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like that the timeline at this point is the most important thing, to have a good timeline and know where you're going to be, and your bride and groom know where you're going to be. That seems to be very important.
It does. And it really will help you on the day to know what's going on, where people are, what the timeline is, where should they be? If they're not there, go find them. That type
Yeah.
of thing. Yes. And then, oh, here's another important person to know is the somebody who knows everybody. There's somebody who knows everybody. And so you can be like, okay, who are we missing from this photo? Oh, Uncle John. Could you go get Uncle John? And you're not sending important, like the bride or groom to go get somebody because they're going to get waylaid. But you're sending someone else who can zip through the crowd, find Uncle John, and bring Uncle John. Hopefully not drunk, but yes. Okay. Now, a lot of these lessons, your assignment afterwards to show that you were here, that you were paying attention, is to give me 3 points, 3 takeaways that you walked away with from the lesson. So it could be something we talked about, could be if you missed it, that's fine. Whatever's in the lecture I created, just give me 3 takeaways of something of, oh, hey, okay, that's really cool. Or yeah, I'd heard about this. Now I know a little bit more about it. Like first looks. We talked about that a bunch today. Any last questions, you guys? Anybody disagree with some of my do's and don'ts? That'll be a fun one.
This isn't necessarily a question, but I work a lot of weddings and events, like a lot of weddings. Like I went to a wedding yesterday, and just know if you're photographing a wedding, you usually do get to eat the wedding food, which is really nice. But
Yeah,
you also, I watch a lot of photographers like scarf it down just because they want to get back to it. So like, don't die when you're scarfing down your food, but you do get dinner.
it's true. When you actually get to sit down, oh my goodness. But yeah, I've gotten good at holding my camera by the lens like this, holding a plate of food and eating. I am great at it. What do you think, Matt? How many of those have you done?
Pretty much everyone. Usually eating is like the first thing you get to do, just kind of like taking a few seconds to yourself, walking away from everyone. But it's important to note that that should be like written in your contract, that that is a requirement that they feed you some kind of a meal. A lot of times people assume that that's not the case. So, especially the actual like venue or event will not want to feed you. So it's important that that's written in your contract because you don't want to go 8 hours without any food, standing on your feet all day. You'll pass out.
Amen. Come on, preach. Another thing I'll do is, I think we talked a little bit about this last week, was I will ask whoever it is, bridegroom, whoever it is that's putting these together, if me and my assistant can eat early, like with the rest of the people, hopefully with the bride and groom. Because when the bride and groom are done and they start walking around to all the tables, if you're the last one to eat, you're just getting fed. And then everyone's looking at you like, why aren't you over there taking photos with them? And you had to wait for everybody else to get served and all the rest of so I ask to eat first and I tell them exactly why. And then generally they're like, oh yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, we want to be able to do that. And I'm like, because I want to be able to be up there with you, getting photos of you with your guests while you're going and saying hello to everybody. So that, and you need to go to the bathroom usually by that time.
That's a really good point because like whenever you go there, they're selecting who's going to go eat first, and you're trying to be respectful of their family, and you're like, oh, I don't want to cut in front of anyone, but you're there to do a job. You're not there to like while they're drinking at the bar and dancing and acting like idiots, you're going to actually be working. So it's important that you establish and kind of just cut in front of them people, and usually people are pretty understanding,
especially if you do it with a smile.
Yeah.
That said, I would still recommend that you take protein bars with you or something with carbs, because it's a long day. And in the middle of summer, if you're dressed in the black and you're as white as me, you're going to get really, really hot. So having some extra food just to keep your energy up is very helpful. And lots of good cold water.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you usually bring your own like matching black water bottle or?
No, I really don't care about what the water bottle looks like as long as it can hold cold water and stay
Okay.
cold. Because my stuff really isn't out in the open. I usually hide my stuff somewhere that I can get to it, but it's not like, oh, look, right in the middle of the place, there's the photographer's bag, but something you can get to. Another thought, Matt can back me up with this one too, and Brian can. Bea probably too, now that you said you've done a lot of weddings. If I will sit in a spot towards the back, I will find people who will help you out. Like you can put your camera down so you're not carrying 50 pounds of equipment for a minute, and they'll watch your stuff and, run to the bathroom without having to take off cameras and hang them on the thing on the back of the door, they'll just, you can find some kind people that will kind of look out for you, be a team photographer. At least I do. All right.
The DJs are really helpful too. If you ask them for anything, they're super nice.
Yes, especially if you do things for them too. As you pass by, hey, do you need a soda? Do you need water? Did you get food yet? Something like that. Or here's another fun one with the DJ. Good thought is I will stop off and go, okay, how much longer till we cut the cake? Okay, we got 15 minutes. All right, bride, go back to the bride. Hey, you got about 15 minutes till you cut the cake. Do you need to go to the bathroom? What do you need?
Yeah, the DJs know everything. They have the whole timeline, especially for announcements.
Absolutely.
So they know when the speeches are going to happen. They know when dinner's happening. They know when like grand entrances or if they're doing like a fancy exit or something.
Absolutely, they do. And especially when you make friends with the DJ, it's so much easier when things come along and they ask the DJ, do you have a photographer that you'd recommend? Oh, yeah.
How would you deal with like the exit if like I know it's summer and like in Colorado especially the weather changes, like if it gets like super cold or it starts like drizzling or raining like during that exit and you're like you didn't plan for that, like how would you deal with that?
Generally, the higher end cameras are sealed, so you don't have to worry about them getting wet. Your flashes, as long as you're not standing in a downpour, shouldn't be a big deal. You're getting a little bit of rain, shouldn't be too bad. Be a professional, suck it up, make the best of it.
You can get like little umbrellas too that connect to your hot plate on your camera. So it's just like
Okay.
it covers your camera.
Yeah, like I was saying though, the cameras are sealed, so I wouldn't concern about that as much as I would anything you have on it, like flash. I don't know how well sealed those are.
I
And you
keep
do,
charging
the
my
actual exit only takes, you know, maybe a minute that you're actually like doing something. Most of the time you're sitting out there waiting for everyone to get ready, trying to corral everyone to stand in a line because no one's going to want to listen to you because they're going to be all, you know, hyped
Drunk.
up like Jaeger bomb shots the whole time. So no one's going to really like be paying attention to you. So your job is to kind of, you know, use like your big boy voice or big girl voice, like let everyone know you're there, tell people where to stand, tell them not to pop the little popper until they actually get out there. That's usually one of the most, I feel like the most difficult, besides the actual photos of the family, you know, just standing there smiling at you. That's one of the most difficult part of the night, is to get everyone to stop acting like a fool for 2 seconds. Because the second that they start running down the, you know, the 2 lanes, and everyone's like, yay, and you're actually getting your shots. That's all they need to do is sit there, but everyone's, you know, just kind of going 1,000 different directions. But you're only out there working camera exposed for maybe 60 seconds. The rest of the time you're kind of just organizing. So you're not
Very
out there
true.
too long. So and I was
Very,
gonna
very
say,
true.
yeah, I was also about to say about the DJ. Usually the timeline, even though it's amazing to have one and you should have one, it only lasts about one minute into the timeline that you realize the timeline is going to be different than it is on the piece of paper. So whenever you're talking to the DJ, and you can take a few more minutes for your food. You can say, hey, can you give me 5 more minutes?
Yep,
Before you do
absolutely.
before you do the stuff, you can kind of on the fly adjust that timeline with the DJ. As long as they're not announcing it, that means it's not happening until you say, you kind of have the final authority between you two to adjust that on the fly.
Absolutely. And they will work with you, especially like we've been talking, just make friends with these vendors. Be nice to them, be professional, be kind. If you're sulking in a corner by yourself and you're so introverted that you won't talk to anybody, this is going to be a lot more difficult for you. But if you do talk to people and you make friends with them, your life will be a lot easier when it comes to this wedding. And thus your client's going to be so happy.
Communication is key.
Absolutely. Plan, plan, plan. And as much as possible, stick to the plan, but don't be the cause of the plan going awry. I've seen people go work way too slow as a photographer, and it seems like they're holding the wedding hijacked because they can't get the photo they want. And I'm like, then you are not the photographer for this job right now. Go learn some more, get better at what your photography is. Come back when you're ready. And in the meantime, we have a wedding to go through. And yeah, just don't take the wedding hostage. How's that?
Yeah, the day still isn't about you. It's their day.
Amen.
The day is about their wedding, their experience, their emotional connection to each other, and like they're enjoying time with their family. It's not about getting amazing photos for you. You're there to capture it in the moment. If you don't get it, you don't get it, and you just don't get that photo this time. You'll get it next time.
Yep,
So
absolutely.
you say in a sense that the DJ is more of the timekeeper since he has all the music cues and everything.
Now, remember, he's only there from the reception on for the most part.
Yeah.
So as far as the extra things that happen during the reception, which we'll go over in a couple of weeks, he's the one in charge. He's the master of ceremonies. Uh-huh. So be friends with them. Make sure they get the cake, they get a soda, they get a whatever, drink of water, something that they need. Yeah. If you help them out, even just something that small, they're just like, oh, thank you. Wow, that's great. So much. Thank you so much. Because they're kind of stuck there. They can't get up and go anywhere. So, all right. Any other thoughts? Anything else stand out, Mia?
It also helps to become friends with like the staff. Like if they recognize you, if you're at that venue more than once, and they're like,
Yes.
oh, yeah, like I've seen you before. That helps.
Yep.
And they'll offer to get you drinks and stuff and make sure you've eaten too.
Yes. So very true. Again, that's just marketing a professional. Know the people that are around you. You're all working together and work together. Yeah.
Mia, what do you do that you go to a lot of weddings?
I work for All Star DJs, but I run the photo booth branch of the DJ company. So I just
Oh,
run
okay.
photo booths.
I was like, how did she go to a wedding yesterday?
I
On a
just-
Monday. Yeah.
It was weird, but whatever. It's funny.
Yeah.
And weddings are
It's
really
fun.
fun because people are fun and they are pretty like if you're nice to people, they'll be nice to you.
Look them in the eye, smile at them, learn their name, shake their hand, speak confidently. That's a lot of it. That'll do so much for you in the world. Okay. Any other thoughts?
I always
Um,
tip the DJ. I mean, I'm not DJ. I always tip the wait staff as well. Like when I first get there, everything starts. I would always throw them a 20 just because I'm a vendor, they're a vendor. We're kind of all in the same boat. And I'll always throw them a 20, and usually you'll get like they'll throw you a beer with everyone else. You'll be able to get champagne. Like you'll be treated as more of a guest because you're kind of like respecting their profession and they're respecting yours.
Love it. I absolutely love it. All right. So your homework assignment is to write down 3 takeaways from the lecture. And whether that's our discussion, the lesson, I don't care. I just want to see 3 takeaways. Reminder, please to turn them in as a PDF so I won't have any trouble opening them. Yeah. And if there's no more questions, I don't know if they do. I see that, but Mia, you answer that question. I don't think they do photography.
I'm not sure about that because they don't really do photography stuff. Like they're not like usually if they're hiring a photographer, it's through a different company. It's not usually through the DJs.
Yeah.
But the DJs do a lot of other stuff, like they have Cold Sparks or they have like the photo booth or but they do
Okay.
a lot of other stuff other than weddings too. So I think it might be hard for them to do photographers, but I can ask.
Okay. Thank you, Mia.
Yeah,
Say hi to Carson for me, will you?
I will. I actually mentioned you the other day and he said that you were awesome.
It's a mutual admiration society.
Carson's the best.
He is pretty darn cool. All
Have you
right.
ever Hudson DJ?
No.
Oh, he's a really good DJ. Hudson is Brandon's son.
Okay. I know Tina because I've worked with her and I know
love
Carson.
Tina. Tina's great. I love her.
Yeah. All right, y'all. That's about it. Just this one portion. Kind of an overview, but we focused more on the pre-ceremony. All the details and the things of that sort. So that's a big one. So take this information and apply it to any event that you're doing. Let's say that you're capturing an award ceremony somewhere. Capture the details. Those are the awards, the place where you're at, the people who are involved. Yeah, a lot of those things. Anybody you see standing together and talking and smiling, hey, can I get your picture? Let me get a picture of you guys together. That could be before or after. It helps a lot. Okay. Any other thoughts? Questions?
I got one more question. And Matt, I want to get your take on this as well. So when you were doing the lecture and you showed the bride's photos and the groom's photos with the bride getting ready, would you normally keep her face out of the picture and just kind of focus on the dress and everything like that?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I would do both.
That was one thing I noticed was the pictures didn't have the bride's face, so I didn't know if that would spoil the first look or if that's just how it's normally done, where you focus on the dress and her getting ready. Because Matt, I remember some of your videos had like the bride as a silhouette, so I was wondering if you were just trying to keep the bride hidden till that big reveal.
Yeah, the that's a really good point. I do videography mostly, weddings, and whenever you're telling a story on a highlight video, it's kind of a character reveal, as you just said. It's kind of like I'm kind of hiding her face specifically, and I'm hiding his face fully, so that whenever you have that, great crescendo music moment where she's walking down the aisle and he sees her for the first time, it's kind of like you're seeing her for the first time too. And it's more of an emotional connection to the character because I'm basically telling a story in the video. And I would say that is less important with photos because you're not really looking at them as a storyline. It is you're more documenting moments and capturing specific moments as opposed to creating an emotional connection to the characters. you know, because you're not going to look at 1,000 photos like a flip book and try to like, you know, have a story be brought up from that. But detail photos, which I'm sure were already mentioned, detail photos should be about the details. You always concentrate on small picture, middle picture, which is kind of like just what is actually happening, and then kind of something far away to set the scene. So the character, so everyone looks, I know where I am, I know what I'm looking at, and I know what's going on. Those are three different values that you get out of every single moment that's occurring. The mom is helping her put her dress on, right? And that is the mom's hands on the buttons. You can see hands, you can see the wrinkles on her hands, you can see the buttons, you're right in there. She say like, I know what's going on. And then you set the scene. This is everyone looking at mom helping putting her dress on. And then you're like, what does the room look like? That's the big picture photo. So three photos for every single event and moment that you're trying to capture.
Preach, brother, preach. I try to tell my fundamentals class that all the time. Wide, medium, close, all the time. Get low, wide, medium, close. Eye level, wide, medium, close. Get high, wide, medium, close.
And try to choose a creative angle. Don't just do it as maybe you would look at it normally. Try to choose a very creative angle to display that image. It just makes it a much more interesting photo for the viewer to look at, because if you see it that way all the time, normally it's not really that interesting. It's kind of boring because you've seen it that way before. But if you're getting really, really low or at a really extreme side angle, maybe utilizing some bokeh and some in focus, out of focus stuff to kind of make it more interesting, then it'll draw your eye to what is important in the photo.
Come on. Preach. Love it. Yep. All these good things with photography. I'm also thinking whenever I'm photographing the bride, whether it's details or putting on the dress or whatever, I'm trying to think emotional connection in one frame. So what is it that they're going to highlight if they make a book from this, a photo book? Some of that, it might be a straightforward shot. Okay. But if you get something that's a little bit more ethereal and beautiful, well lit, well framed, it may or may not show her face. It might be a silhouette. That could be a very beautiful photograph altogether that says a lot more than just there she is and there's her dress, you know. Okay, those were very long answers. Did that help, Brian? That was a lot of answers. Those are good answers though.
No, the longer the answer, the better it is for me, because I got an event to do this Thursday. It's not a wedding, but it's still formal, where they're going to go through the whole process of social hour, everything like that. So whatever I'm taking from this class, I'm going to try to apply it to that to give them better photos for the future.
Well, feel free to look through the full assignments. They're all there. I haven't hidden any of them.
Okay.
Yeah, I just did my first engagement, and I feel like that was a big thing too, of like walking through in your head what you're going to do, but also communicating that so that you're hearing yourself say it and everyone's on the same page. And if they have questions, you can adjust.
Yes. Anything else? Questions, things you'd like to talk about?
What was the assignment again? You said the 3 takeaways of the timeline from the
Yep, it's
lecture.
in the assignment, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Anything else? Very good to see you guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Enjoy all this stuff. And hopefully if you start looking around online at weddings, then you can see a lot of fun things. Visually, I remember things better than by words. So looking at the visuals would be very helpful.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a great day.
That's it. That's all I have for you today. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. See you next week at 9.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.